started. Good morning. Welcome to our weekly FYRE webinar powered by NewFields Ag. Before we get started today, I wanted to quickly mention that we are offering some strong programs right now to help cash flow for the producers out there, help address high cost of operating money. So contact your local dealer, your local business development manager, or even call our office for those details. You can also go to our website, newfieldsag.com, where you can look at those details as well. One of the big programs we're running right now is 0% interest. Applications need to be in by the 12th of January, and then your payment then will be deferred until December of 24. We also for the next 7 days have a 6% early pay program going. That can also save you some money. The 0% and the 6% are two separate options. You can't do them together. So again, go to newfieldsag.com for all those details. With that, it's my honor to welcome our guest presenter this morning. Brian Tulley is currently the president and CEO of NewFields Ag and Lomutech. Brian's the foremost expert on what the dust product is, as well as the processes around creating it, and some research behind proving what a great product it can be on your farm. Brian is the inventor of dust, as well as the coat product we are introducing in 24. With that, I welcome Brian. Thank you, Brian, for sharing with us this morning.
You bet. Thanks. Thank everybody for being here. I appreciate it. The growth that we've seen over the company with the last couple of years by bringing people on that are very talented, both as in our business development group as well as our dealers and distributors, has been awesome. Considering that we started this, my wife and I, on a kitchen table back in 2011. So I appreciate the fact that y'all are on board and we're able to keep this moving. What I'd like to cover this morning is kind of the history of dust and then the dust plus inclusions and some of the technology behind it. It's very innovative, and we have come to learn more about that by the fact that we can do inclusions into the dust material and deliver that through the planter box and see season-long performance with it. So with that, I'll get started. And please, in the middle of this, if there's any questions at all, just ask a question. I'm sure that they'll be monitoring the chat, or if you just raise your hand, we'll get to you so that we can get that going as well. So I want to make this interactive. Like Bob said, we have been living this product for a long time, and looking to bring something out that would replace talc and graphite. What we have been working on, the most recent, is making sure that we start developing this piece of our product line. It is a patented, which we received in 2019, for dust, biocomplex inclusion carrier technology, developed as a preferred method to precisely deliver beneficial organisms directly to the seed. The things that we've learned about the delivery of micronutrients, as well as biologicals and biotechs, is that whenever you go to see a plant response, it's not the same as doing a seed treatment. It's not an encapsulation that you need. It is an increase of the availability of the nutrient or the biologic to the plant, getting enough on there so that you can colonize the area either around the plant, within the plant, or within the soil, depending on the type of biology you're looking at. And we'll go through some of those here today so that you can have that knowledge as well. Like Bob said, we have two main products that Lomutech has patented. It is Dust, the dry flowable seed lubricant product, and then Coat, the liquid seed coating that uses the same base material, the same soy protein. Soy lecithin is kept out of the coat piece because we don't need that for the lubricity side. And we've developed that both into a liquid seed coating as well as a foliar application product. So you get the benefit of having more amino acids in, and we'll cover that in just a bit as well. And there's our two patent numbers. It's interesting reading. I know that I may be the only one on the call that reads white papers, but it's interesting reading to see the scope of what we were able to get patented and also the functionality that we were able to show through that. The United Soybean Board and the farmer checkoff dollars have been a really huge start to our company to help us get into some of the research areas that we could not have been otherwise. And so the money had come from them to help us develop this 100% soy product that is encoded with a 100% soy lecithin to give us the same kind of lubricity and singulation that you see from the talc and graphite products. So we have developed over the first 4 or 5 years a product that performs just like 80/20. When I started this process, we were using eFlow on our farm, the precision product on the farms that we were helping, and liked what it did for singulation and lubricity, but we did not like the fact we were wearing it home, and so we started that process. As we got to looking at what makes the product do what it's supposed to do, we realized that there are some characteristics of it that as you dig into the research of it, that talc and graphite have little shards of glass, basically is what they are. And there's a lot of research that defines the off-target movement of seed treatment that happens, and it takes the seed treatment into the environment. And so it's a negative impact on the environment and on the actual pollinators that we're trying to maintain. They've attributed some of the neonics coming off the seed to some of the beehives, degradation that we saw, and there was other environmental factors that all hit at the same time. Because of that, Bayer invented the fluency agent. And fluency agent worked. It did exactly what Bayer designed it to do. Bayer designed it to maintain seed treatment on the seed, and it worked. It did it. It's a microplastic. It did not blow into the environment. It did not take. It's a very soft product. It did not take seed treatment off. The problem with it is that it's a microplastic, and so it doesn't degrade in several lifetimes, and therefore it gets into the soil and eventually can end up into streams. And as I'll show you in just a little bit, it could end up in the fish and be detrimental to the fish population. So fluency agent came out about the same time that we were finalizing the production of dust. And as you'll see in the picture on the right-hand screen there, we manufactured dust to be spherical shaped. We called it little ball bearings when we started because we focused on the replacement of talc and graphite when we first started, not on the bioinclusion carrier technology piece. My goal when I first started this, before I brought Michael Musselman in or Dan as a salesperson or anybody else into the team, was to replace talc and graphite. And we downplayed the amino acid structure. We downplayed the ability to carry. But when you slice those little spherical shapes open, it looks like the edge of a cardboard box. So there's little slots in there. And the first time we saw that under a microscope, my brain went to, why can't we fill that with stuff? Stuff's a technical term. You can use it if you'd like to. I don't charge much for the license, so it's okay. But we wanted to be able to include, we thought, micronutrients. As we got into that process, we were introduced to some companies that had biologics and biotechs that we were able to work with, one of which was NewLeaf. And they were interested because as we were talking, we got to looking at the key amino acids that we have within our soy particle that we sell as dust now and now as Dust Plus. The big thing I want to focus on is there's 5 key amino acids that we start with. If you look at the very first one, the glutamic acid is a chlorophyll precursor. It helps the plant get started. And each one of these you'll see that I bring to light here talks about what each one of these does in the early development of the plant. The key thing about that is that dust is gone from the soil in as much as 28 days. What we see with dust being included in the planter box is that we're able to, as you can see by this amino acid list, that our product is able to help the plant get up and going and start the process of emergence and plant development so that the biology that's included with it in the Dust Plus examples will be able to replicate enough so that there's plant response. Some of the endophytics that go into the plant for the microbiology side need the time to grow and populate so that it can go into the plant better. Some of the the ectophytes that are on the outside of the plant, same thing. The roots need to be started so that they can immediately start growing on the outside of the roots. Our dust allows that environment to be more receptive to the biology moving through the environment. We've actually seen tests where the inclusion of dust in the soil actually warms the area around the seed faster than when dust is not there. So one of the others that you're looking at and is arginine. Arginine is cold weather resistance. What we see and how we see that show up is in cool planting conditions that you'll see the dust treated plants come up quicker and be stronger by a day to a day and a half. And the other thing we see with this, because of the leucine, which is the other one, plant cell membrane support, what we see with that is that we see a more consistent emergence and a more competitive emergence and a more uniform emergence as we go through. It gets to be an issue for the plant that whenever they call for something, they exudate for something. What the dust being in the ground has done has allowed the other biology, the native biology that's sitting there, that's holding the nutrients, the NPK, the micronutrients, your cobalts, your borons, your zincs, that type of thing that are there in the soil, to be readily available in the form that the plant needs when it needs it. So that's why we come out of the ground a little faster. That's why you see a more uniform stand. That's why you also see better root development. Both corn, soy, wheat, cotton, you name it, we've seen these kind of results on every plant that we've been in. Even in greenhouse situations, we see better emergence and a faster growth rate. The next one that I want to focus on, let me stop there. Any questions about those three? The next two are really fun, and so if there are any questions as I go through, I don't want to run through this information.
Hey, Brian, this is Jared. The
Mhm.
alanine and the arginine. I'm sorry,
Mhm.
yeah, mouthful of letters. The
Yep.
cold weather ones, are they specifically cold weather, or is it any abiotic temperature change?
A great question, Jared. Any kind of temperature change, they help with the cold weather side. The way that was described to me when we got digging into this is that it's more to help with the resistance of the plant to insulate it. Okay, so if we get down south and let's say that we get to the really hot conditions as well, so the soil temperatures are there, it works as kind of those two work as kind of an insulating blanket to help with that too. So obviously you have to have some water available in the soil. But what we see with this group of protein, these amino acids in our soy protein, is that they draw moisture to the area, and so it acts like a biowick, is the way that it's been described to us. That dust, as a biowick, doesn't adversely affect any of the biologies that it's been included with, and we've tested a lot of them. We're not negative impact on that, and we're not negative on the native environment as well, because we are a simple amino acid, and we're providing those benefits to the native biology. Any other? The next one I want to talk about is the serine. There's the first under the non-essential amino acids. Auxin precursor. So auxins are even in human health as well as in plants. It makes things grow bigger, larger, and so it's there as the plant gets to going and taking off to help that the cells, cell wall structure, the plant membrane, plant cell membrane, all that kind of stuff is growing, and this comes in to help with that and to get the early metabolism of the plant up and going. And then the last one is lysine, and lysine is is a chelating agent, but it's a building block for all proteins. So whenever you start looking at what lysine does, and whenever we saw this come up on our test of our material, I'm like, well, that's kind of the basis for all this. And what's really nice about it is that stays within the plant all season long. All of these are interacting within the plant and are taken over, or they actually help move materials within the plant as well. So the reason we're seeing an additional benefit of the Dust Plus products is that we help move them back across the cell wall into the plant so that they're there quicker. That's the same thing we're seeing with coat whenever we do a foliar application of it as well, that it helps it move through the leaf surface into the plant through the stoma better because of the ease of our product moving across the plant and through the plant cell membrane. So it works out really well. We've thrown this slide up in a lot of meetings here recently, and I wanted to take a little time to go through it because there's a lot of really good stuff that our basic dust does. All right. Remember, we're selling the basic dust for 12 cents an acre on corn, about 30 cents an acre on soybeans, right? It is strictly a replacement for talc and graphite. And so whenever you start talking to somebody about that, it is truly delivering technology just in the dust by itself. And the reason that we have people that are interested in what we're doing with this is that we are giving that environment for their biology to be the most successful. People have tried and are still blending biology into talc and graphite, and working on that as well. And what that does is that talc and graphite actually will desiccate that biology because it takes water away. It is not a biowick. It doesn't bring water to the area. The talc and graphite absorbs it. And what that does is it pulls the moisture out of the live biology. And so if it's a non-spore forming, once again, gram negatives, gram positives, those types of things, then the talc and graphite has been known to desiccate that biology, so it's not effective for the plant anymore. Our dust particle, whenever we make the Dust Plus products, our dust particle, it maintains a 3 to 5% moisture level. And by having a 3 to 5% moisture level, it allows that to be a nice environment for that biology to live, but it doesn't adversely affect the material that is being applied with it, so that it can continue to grow and can continue to survive, but it doesn't wake up. And that's the key too that we're seeing. The reason people are coming to us as we go through this is that if they put their biology in liquid, because a lot of the products that we're putting into our dust particle now, making Dust Plus, and you'll see the list here in just a minute, they sell liquid. And for a lot of applications that works well, but there's still more planters being sold in the US without liquid systems on them than there are being sold with them. And so what we're doing is giving the ability to deliver this biological technology to the seed, not down the furrow. We're delivering it right to the seed because of a slight negative charge that we have, that it will attach to every seed. And then you'll be able to see that benefit the plant as it continues to grow through it. Dust Plus inclusions are, obviously, we're stuck on cleaner, safer soy. Michael Musselman came up with that one night about midnight and texted it to me, and I thought it was the greatest thing I'd seen. This is that selling thing. If you can't sell dust based on cleaner, safer soy, the fact that it's cleaner for the farmer, for his workers, it's cleaner for the tractor, the combine, whenever they get ready to harvest the planter, all those kind of things. It's cleaner. It's safer for the environment. It's safer for the end user. It's safer for the seed. And it's made of soy. Farmers are helping fund the research of it, and they're using something that they're growing. Obviously renewable with the soybean side. The other thing that we've spent a lot of time on, and a lot of our research dollars go to looking at up here this week. Actually, I'm at a research center this week, and we've made 3 brand new products that didn't exist before we got here this week. That makes for the year of 2023, we have made 17 new products that didn't exist before we started. And what's really cool about that is that so far I've had 3 fail, right? And it had to do with we tried things that were outside the box, and so we don't have 100% win rate, because if we did, I would get really, really concerned that we haven't tested the limits enough. But we're finding the limits of this, which is what we're trying to do every time we go do research. We're able to mix products into the soy protein that contains ingredients that have not been able to be delivered that way ever before. And so the mixes of things that we can do and continue to grow and continue to allow the farmer to see a positive return on their investment has been huge, because our goal with the products that we're developing at Lomeu Tech to be able to be sold through NewFields Ag and other vendors is that we want to be able to add something to the process that the farmer is already doing, and they don't have to add another piece of equipment if they don't want to. But we also give them a chance in a less expensive way to dip their toe into the biological, biotech, micronutrient inclusion world and see a positive return. We've seen tremendous yield responses on corn and soy and wheat, peanuts, cotton, and we're on 22 different crops right now, plus in the greenhouses. And we've seen excellent results with that. But we've also seen some where it's a push. And so then the push gets to be, all right, the guy will come back or the farmer will come back and say, what I like about it is that I wasn't all dirty at the end of the season. Or we had to work on that row unit and we took it apart and we didn't dread it because we were able to take it apart, fix it, get it back together and be back out there and going again. And then we weren't eating graphite sandwiches. The other thing is that trying to make sure that we can keep the biology at a level that is most responsive for the plant longer. If you're delivering a biologic in a liquid form, it continues to go through life cycles of degradation. So, of most products has a shelf life. What we've been able to see by our partnerships with different companies is that we extend the shelf life of the products. So, as a dealer or distributor of ours that's selling this product, we give you more shelf life. Therefore, you're making a decision about bringing a product in that gives you flexibility about how to use it over more than one season, so that you've got the ability to bring it in this year. And if you don't sell it all for some reason, you can carry it over and be safe to go into the second season with it. And we're seeing some that are extending into that 24 to 36 month range. And so that's really nice as we see those things continuing to go. Our dust product by itself, I've got some behind my desk in my office. Those of you that have been there, I've got a black bucket that I've had since 2012. Every year we open it up, test it, and make sure it's still the same way. So I tell everybody, if you keep it in a sealed container and away from water, you're going to be doing good over the life of the product. We still tell everybody that I figure a 2 to 3 year shelf life, and buy enough, and then you'll be ready to go. The other thing is that we're working on products such as Brady rhizobia, trying to figure out how to bring that into our dust particle. We know that many of you on the call like treating seed. You hate inoculating seed. So we're trying to figure out a way that we can give you the delivery of the Brady rhizobia and products like that in a form that will be more efficient for you and for the farmer to be able to use. Because with our products that we've developed, you're able to treat the seed months in advance of them being actually planted. So you can have planter-ready seed ready to go to the field. So what we were able to introduce, and we started this with our TerraSym Dust product, the 450, 401 products, we looked at the fact that we could be 120 to 180 days in the box before we went to the field to give flexibility to everybody that's doing seed treatment. And the inclusion in our dust product allows that. That was not available before you did the seed treatment, put the liquid side on, but the inclusion in dust allows that to happen. So it continues to grow the flexibility for our end users, for the dealers and distributors of seed, and as well as our products. Like I said, the shelf stable side of this, the fact that we're running at a 3 to 5% moisture level, so that if you do get the product in, this is one of those products that you don't have to keep it in climate controlled storage with the biology included. That's still our recommendation. If you can keep it in a shed, so that you can keep it without it staying below freezing for extended periods of time. That's just out of a abundance of caution. But all of the products that we make with the dust and dust plus inclusions get the advantage of our patent being attached to them. So we're having people that are coming alongside us that are looking at it and going, okay, so now I can have a patent protected product with my material in it that I get to go sell. And obviously, everything that we do, we test to make sure that it doesn't adversely affect the planter operation, that's singulation as well as lubricity. Many of you know we went to K-State 2 years ago and paid for a study to compare us to talc and graphite on wear and lubricity, and dust is superior to talc and graphite on wear and lubricity. We couldn't find a study that had ever been done to look at what does talc and graphite actually do to the planter parts. So we paid for it. We went out and did it. And what we saw is that our product provides that. We had heard it from the field. A lot of the Kinsey guys were coming to us early talking about their finger meters and stuff were working, lasting longer, that we're seeing the seals on the back of the planter plates were lasting longer. And that had to do with the fact that our product is designed to give both lubricity and singulation using an all-natural product. And so we've engineered it for that. And so it works very well. And so we compare every product we put in there to make sure it does. We're doing that because early on, I didn't do that. And we had a product that went out that did not work. And so when we were fortunately, God gave us the ability to learn that lesson when it was on 5,000 acres instead of 500,000 acres. And so we were able to correct that and move it forward. The big thing that I wanted to show here is the other reason that people like using our product is because of its ease of application. We talked about earlier that being able to include our product before you need to, before you get into the bulk rush of the season, so that you can actually have field ready, corn, beans, wheat, cotton, whatever it is, ready to go out. Some of these crops will need to be treated. Obviously, the soybeans, you'll treat them first, and then you can actually put the Dust Plus inclusion product or the straight dust product on and then put it right back in the Pro Box and be able to have it ready. So when the farmer shows up, all he has to do is load the seed and go to the field and plant. That's been a huge benefit for us and for you as you've implemented and added Dust and Dust Plus to your portfolio, because it gives you flexibility. The big thing that we did when we first started this is that we included that little red scoop, because the first couple of years, Michael and I were going to get unlisted numbers for a couple of days because I forgot to put a scoop in the pan. And so we learned very quickly that, number one, we're a low use rate product. And so because of that, we spread through the seed. And I want to go back. I've got to ask one time about how do I know it spreads through the seed? So it took us 3 years to figure that out. How do we include the right amount of protein to make the particle dense enough, and then the right amount of lecithin on the outside of that particle to make it flow? Because I had both extremes, and I still have both extremes in the office in Grand Mound, back in the shed of the products we made. Some of it acted just like graphite. So if you've ever poured graphite into a box, you know that by the time you get done making your circle and your X on the top, it's already fallen straight to the bottom of the planter, because it does nothing for static electricity control. That's not its job. It doesn't care about that. It cares about lubricity. That's what I want to do. The talc piece of it, whenever you do the 80-20 blend and of the talc side of it, it's there for the static electricity control and the seed to seed movement and all that kind of stuff. And that's what I was trying to replicate. And it took me a long time to get it so that it didn't either drop straight to the bottom of the planter and act like graphite, or sit up on top and float. And so now our product and the way we're making our Dust Plus products, our Dust Plus inclusion products, if you were to take a bag that is designed for either 50 units or 40 units, 50 units of corn, 40 units of beans, and you were to take that bag and sift it over the top of a corn box, let's say the 1.25 pound, 1.56 pound of bag of Dust Plus product over the top of that, and you transferred it into an empty Pro Box, and then you took it from that empty Pro Box and put it right back in the one it came out of. By the time you did that, the seed on the soybeans or corn are going to look just like that picture on the right-hand side. We've done a lot of study, we've done a lot of practice to make sure that it is that simple to treat this seed as we go through. Because we know the other thing it's going to do is continue to mix and continue to allow the seed to get touched by that biology and that Dust Plus as many times as it can. Our goal is to give that biology the best chance to be effective that it can have. And so this is what our folks, our friends at TerraSim, NewLeafs have done for testing, is that they looked at what it actually looked like for CFU count on the seed with their liquid application, which is on the left, and then what it looked like whenever they did planter box with us. So the question that I get asked a lot is, are you inoculating the seed? No, that's not really what we're trying to do. We're trying to make sure that there's enough particles on the seed that you see a plant response because the biology is able to perform. And this is a test that they've repeated. Every time they do the testing, they see that it's the same way. That it is much higher results on seed compared to doing the liquid seed treatment. So people are coming to us and wanting more and more of the biology placed in the particle. With this particle, with the TerraSim product, we actually blend two dries together. As we were starting to look for partners with this, we thought that we would be putting something in that. You remember I said it looks like cardboard, looks like those little holes in the end of cardboard. I thought that we'd be looking to put something right in one of those slots. Well, as it comes along, New Leaf comes along, and they have a material that they've been making that is really close to the same density, has a slightly positive charge, and whenever we blend them together, our two products perform very, very well. They stay mixed within the seed. The inclusion of the TerraSim doesn't adversely affect the operation of our product, and we enhance what they do on the seed because we're able to keep it on the seed better. So as we continue to grow, this is what we've seen with all the products we've added. And I'll go back. Like I said, we learned early on that there are some products that we need to test to make sure when we include them, if we blend them together, we do a lot more product testing to make sure that when we send that product out, it doesn't all fall to the bottom of the planter, because that usually is what happens. If we go to blend a product together, there will be something that will come in that will take up every available space charge on our particle. And then all of a sudden there's nothing to attach to the seed. And so then we go back and we have this staff here. We have some really, really good chemists that we've been able to work with that have been working with this product since the early 70s. That's the other thing, that the soy protein product that we're using, if you're taking notes on a sheet of paper or ever take notes on a sheet of paper, you're actually using the same technology that we're using in ag. I patented the use of it in agriculture. So that's what we're doing with this. And so it gives us the ability to deliver these things and be consistent about the placement so that we give the biology the best chance to be effective. And the other thing that we get asked all the time is, well, I'm sure it all falls to the bottom. And so it all goes out in the first 100 feet. So we went and worked with New Leaf again as our partners to get started. They wanted to prove that what we had seen in the field. And so they worked with Ag Ingenuity Partnership and went out and looked at 20% planted, at 50% planted, at 80% planted, what that CFU per seed looked like for both corn and soy. And as you can see, it's very consistent. Statistically, no difference is what they keep telling us. And that is what we see as we go through doing all the different plantings and inclusions that we see as well. Any questions? This is what we do when we do research. This is what it looks like. Let's see if I can get this thing off the screen here. When we're up doing research, whenever I do an inclusion of some kind within our soy protein, this is what it looks like under a microscope. Our product looks to encircle or enrapture something with it. And so the soy protein is, as you can see, it doesn't matter what size the particle is of the inclusion, we've still got soy protein wrapped around it. That's the piece that gives us the ability to include some of these biologies that other people can't do. And that's the IP piece of what we're doing that's taken us about 3.5 years to figure out how to do that, so that we can be consistent with it and provide a product that still performs the way we need dust to perform in the planter, and give us that flexibility to be able to deliver many different types of biologies, because we work with all of these types of biologies. Like we talked about, the ectophytes that are out on the roots or on the leaf surfaces, the endophytes that go within the plant, bring materials in through the stomata, into the cell exchange, soil dwelling, looking at that, as well as looking at including the soil micronutrient mixes as well. We're including those in too. So we're doing a lot of different things as we continue to move forward. And we've had products in each one of these areas work within dust and perform and provide a benefit to the farmer, which is our ultimate goal, making sure that it works consistently for the grower. Some of our key partners and some of the products that we've made with them, obviously New Leaf. We've made Terracin 401 with dust with them, 402, 410, 450, 402 and 410's peanuts and cotton. And now the new CRWTS 201, which is really exciting for us. The fact that it'll be blended with a 450 dust combination, and then you'll include the 201 in it, and you can still do the same early application of that to be able to get it ready. We're seeing tremendous results of the 450 and the dust and 201 going to the field on some corn worm acres. It's really, really cool that we licensed the use of that 450 and 401 dust product to AMVAC, and they sell that as BioWake in the country. And you're starting to see some more and more advertisings about that, because this is their second selling season with that, and they've seen excellent results in the field like we have with the 401 and 450 products. New Life Biosciences, we license the use of dust to them as well. Yieldmaster, obviously the NutriQuire product that we've seen really nice results with on the P&K side, as well as the breakdown of that. And then this year we'll be developing a NutriQuire 450 dust product with them, and a NutriQuire 401 dust product to bring that to market as well. Transagra, the callback dry planter box side, we've used this in several places, and you'll be seeing their name come up a little more as we move forward, because we really like what their technology is doing as well. They sell that callback dry planter box product in the Central Americas, as well as they send a lot over to Africa. So dust is being planted now on the African continent as well, both in Central Africa as well as in South Africa. So it works there as well. We're working because of all the things that we're doing to make sure that we're in compliance as we go from state to state and product to product. Bosarji Smith is who we're working with on that. An excellent group of people. The young lady there has forgotten more about the EPA and registrations than I'll ever care to know. Obviously, the Dust Before product. This is one of those examples of similar to the NutriQuire. That's a liquid product that we sell within our catalog as well. But there was a need to bring this 6-bacillus blend into the planter box to be able to give some flexibility to people that don't have on planter application or wanted some flexibility to be able to go, and we have that as well. DFA, this has been one of those really nice lead-ins as we've been helping them bring some new products to their farmer group that are related to that, and so we're working on those. Our Canadian distribution with Pat Sinclair, premium foliars out of the western provinces of Canada. And then this summer, we shipped our first container full of dust down to Australia and Tasmania and New Zealand with our distribution by David McGavin and Precision Seeding Solutions. And if you go down to Australia for a visit, look for Synchrony Dust. That's the product down in the Southern Hemisphere. So those are a few of the folks we're working with. We've got some others that we have tried products with, and they're in different stages of development, different stages of implementation. So we'll have some new ones that we'll be trying this spring as well. One of the big things that we look at Lommu Tech is how and where does the product work best? We get the opportunity to be presented information by a lot of different companies. And when we ask them, where does your product work best? If they've got a blank stare back at us, we really don't have time to work with them. We need to know that they've done the research to know that their seed works best, or their product works best on the seed, or does it work best as a foliar? Does it work best as an in-furrow? Does it need to be in a consortia? How does it work? We truly don't care. We just need to know so that we don't place it incorrectly. Because the thing that irritates you guys and irritates us is if we put together a plan of action for a particular product and we find out that, you know what, the seed doesn't like it, but the plant does. So how do we get that in a place that we can have the plant be activated by it and go forward? So what we've been developing, obviously, some of you have been around long enough to know that we had the slip shine products, and we'll have those dry coating products. We'll have those again that have our dust in that as we move forward. So we have the ability to do a seed treatment now with our coat product. We have the ability to do a drying agent with our slip shine type products. We have the dust and dust plus products that we can deliver. And then the other piece that we've been experimenting with over the last couple of years is that some of these biologies cannot stand heat. Brady rhizobia hates oxygen, by the way, and so whenever it gets exposed to the air, it starts dying. Well, what if we could include some of that into the lecithin treatment that we're spraying onto the outside of the particle? We're doing it at room temperature, so why can't we deliver things like that? So that's the type of things that we're looking at, the innovations that we're able to bring out, because we understand the process of why we use what we use in the planter. When we first started this, you would ask a farmer, why are you using talcum graphite? I don't know. That's what the case dealer told me I needed to use when I got the new planter. That's what the precision guy told me I needed to use when I got the new precision row units. That's what the deer guy told me when I bought this new high speed. Okay, but why? So then we got to breaking down the education piece of why they're doing what they're doing, and then how we could benefit them by being able to do the replacement for talcum graphite. Because our other concern is obviously, how do we maintain the environment that we're working with and bring products out that can continue to be a benefit to both the farmer and the environment as we move forward. And the farmer has to make money, or they're not going to come back to us and look for those new products, especially as we're going into these years, as we're seeing obviously the crop prices change, the crop input prices change. How do we make those things work? And that's what we're looking at as we go forward, because there's still this large looming issue out there for ag. Everybody looks at the fact that we're surprised, those of us that are watching the ag industry, that there's not been something happen with the litigation, because it's happened in the general population with Johnson and Johnson and the lawsuits. And trust me, we were not getting better talc than they were putting on our babies' bottoms whenever we were raising kids to use in farming and agriculture. So the fact that some of these diseases that we've got that are related to the talc piece of this, or the graphite side, either one, is really interesting. We often get asked, well, I'm just going to use John Deere talc. It's always worked. I'll be able to get that done. Well, the really interesting part is John Deere no longer sells talc. Okay. When you look real close at that pail, it's now sold by American Seed Flow Lubricants. We know the company, we know who's doing it, we know all that stuff, but John Deere actually went through a stage about 5 years ago where they weren't going to sell anything for planter box lubricity because they were so concerned about litigation. And the attorneys told them to quit selling it right now. And the engineers said, we have to have something to keep seed flow going. We have to. And so they came back in and decided that they could do it, but they had to do it through a third party. They could not be exposed to the risk. Well, that doesn't take away the fact that since the early to mid 70s, John Deere, Case, Kinsey, all these guys have been promoting the use of talcum graphite. So it'll be interesting to see what happens as we move forward in the space with this technology. And the new one that's shown up is the microplastic piece. We're tracking all of these things because we know that the detrimental piece of what it does to the soil, and there's studies out there that have been talking about it for a long time. The researchers have known about this because some of the early carriers of chemistry that we were using in row crop had the same kind of carrier with it. And this is what they start getting worried about whenever you start looking at what microplastics do. They know that if it ends up in the waterways, which it can because it doesn't break down, right? That it can be detrimental to fish. And so whenever we were presenting this information up with our Canadian guys, they got really, really irritated. I'm in Minnesota, so with all the lakes up here, we want to make sure that everybody understands that we're not doing this. We're developing products that actually can be applied to the water surface, right, and be beneficial to not only the fish, but take away some of the algae and stuff on the water surface that are using dust as a carrier. So we're developing new products because we want to make sure that the use of cleaner, safer American soy is what we have. Made in America, and we're going to continue to use U.S. soy and make sure that we have new products that we can bring out. That's my time, Bob. Any questions?
Hey, I have a question here.
Yes, sir.
I don't always have opportunity to put the product on through a Pro Box. What's the best way to use the product and get good coverage if you're not running through a Pro Box?
So how do you currently fill your planter, Gary?
Well, with corn, it's out of bags.
Okay.
And soybeans, I do use a Pro Box, but it's hard. I can't really get the beans ahead of time to run through the
Yeah.
process.
So what I would recommend is that if you're using on the bag side, that little red scoop that we have is you're filling the bags into whether you're doing it into the center fill or you're doing a row unit machine. I didn't ask that what kind of planter you have, but either way, that little red scoop is there. And if you look at the little red scoop in every one of our pails, there is a seam around that scoop. And I would love to tell you that I told them to engineer that in there. I didn't. I'm nowhere close to being smart enough to do that. But it does work out that if you take that and fill it up to that little line, that'll do a bag. So that scoop to give you a place to start. Okay. What we've seen over the last couple of years is that scoop that we designed to do 2 bags at a time, the whole scoop, it now is getting used on sometimes 3 or 4 bags at a time because the seed treatments themselves have gotten better. The polymers that the seed companies are using have made it more efficient. Our half an ounce per 80,000 kernels or half ounce per 140,000 on soy is a starting place that we want to give you so that you can have that inclusion do what you need it to do. And I would say that as you empty a bag in, just shake a half a scoop on there and pour the next bag in, shake another half a scoop on and close that if you're doing a row unit machine. If you're doing a center fill, I always, I'm assuming that with talcum graphite, you would preload the planter. So you would put some in the very bottom of the hopper and then allow that to go out to the row units if it's a center fill system or if it's a row unit system, either one. And I want you to do the same thing. Take a scoop of us and pour it in the very bottom of the planter whenever you start out the first of the season, because we don't want anything to start up dry. That's where your most damage comes. And so we want that as well. But to use that scoop. On the Pro Box side, whenever you get it, same thing. I would open, if it was me, I would still open the top of that box up and I would sprinkle it over the top of that box so that by the time you empty it out, then the soybeans have taken the product with it. It's designed to go out with it. And then once it gets in the planter, it's going to be stirred around even more. So you're going to see that. The straight dust product gives us a lot more flexibility. The Dust Plus products, the reason that we started including the scoop is that we knew that Dust Plus products were coming. And so we wanted to make sure we had that so that you could more accurately apply it. So you'll see that all of the Dust Plus products that we have put out are designed to be used at the same rate. So a half ounce per unit of seed. And for us, that's 80,000 on corn and 140 on soy. For you Bex guys, 130 is fine as well. We're not real picky. What we have seen is that if you've had to adjust in the past your talcum graphite uses based on the size of the seed, because we had some last year, we had some same numbered soy that was varied in sizes from 2,200 to 3,200, and so you had to adjust the amount because it gets to be a surface area thing, right? That's what we're trying to do, and it depends on your seed treatment. So there's a lot of flexibility you can do with that. What we do whenever we in those situations is we recommend that you put on the half ounce per unit of the actual Dust Plus product so you can maintain your cost per acre of that. And for any additional that you need for lubricity because you need the extra flow, keep a bucket of dust around. And then you add the extra material in with the dust. I don't want you to over apply the biology because then that drives your cost per acre up. And remember, we're still about revenue per acre. And so that's what we're looking to do too.
So Brad's got a question. Growers are getting used to using dust. What new product would you recommend these growers try this year? Which products are you most excited about?
I would say that if you're going to do one, the Dust B4 product has been really good, depending on if you've got the anything with P and K solubilization you're looking for. I like the Dust B4 side with that. I like the fact that you're getting some plant response early with it, and you see the season long. the new products we have coming out, if you're in a corn rootworm area, I'm telling you that the inclusion of the TS201 overall for us has been a tremendous product that we get to add into the 450 side. And it's in addition to your trait or in-furrow treatment. I really like what that's looking at. This year, the new product that we're bringing out in association with YMS, the NutriQuire dust and the Terrasym piece of this, that's going to be a game changer, I think, because the NutriQuire liquid has performed really, really well for us. And what we've seen in the field trials we did this year in 23 with the dry NutriQuire dust is phenomenal. It's just in the flexibility and those things that we can do. The Terrasym product for us has become kind of a base staple because it tends to work really, really well. And so if you're looking at something, you know, we have in our catalog, you'll see the price levels of products. We've got things that are just straight dust, obviously at the low end of that, and we've got a $6 to $7 range, and then you start seeing products move into the 10. Then you've got the nitrogen fixing products that are into that $14.95 range, and then you've got the TS201 on top of that. And so we kind of can hit every need. The other thing we like about the dry dust products is that if I have a farm that I know that if I pour the gravy to it, it's going to pay back more yield. You can do that with a blend that we have of Dust Plus. And then you've got another farm that doesn't perform as well. You can drop straight back to the dust. And then in just adding dust in, we've seen, I want to share one thing with you here, that we did some testing with the stuff with Bex. Y'all have seen these numbers before. Just by adding dust in, we did 2.7. Right, this will be our third year with Bex. We're going to be Bex PFR proven, and I'm not making a small deal about that, but we'll be PFR proven this year the way it looks. And so, we've got to build on these, right? And so our product is providing a benefit all by itself. And so because of that, whenever you include it in there, even on those acres where you don't want to spend that much money, remember that the amino acids that are included in the protein are helping the plant get up and going. We're making more straws in the soil to take the nutrients up. And so because of that, we give the ability to look, I live in Iowa. We want to see that there's a crop coming up that we can continue to nurture through the year. And we really like the foliar side of that thing. I didn't spend any time at all on coat today. And that's going to be a game changer foliarly for us because we get to deliver that same mix. And I can put things in it that provide me an on seed, on plant sticking agent that allows the plant to take it in faster. I mean, and that's really cool. But just straight dust by itself provides, even this was a tenth of a bushel change, but we continue to provide a benefit at a low inclusion rate cost, so that you can see that as you move forward. And so overall, when you get to looking at the multi-location thing on corn, just by adding dust, 1.5 bushel. So we like that. We like the straight dust piece, obviously, to get started. But then whenever you start looking, by doing those dust pluses, I like the dust before, the Terrasym dust is a great base. And then the new products coming out, the NutriQuire Terrasym dust piece is going to be a really nice player. I got a lot more stuff I can share. I can talk about this all day, so I'm good.
Any other questions out there? To piggyback on what Brian just said, next week we will be bringing in the New Leaf Symbiotics team to talk about the one of our new BioStacks products, the Terrasym 450 plus dust plus the TS201 CRW product. So they will be presenting on that new rootworm product that we're carrying, and looks very, very nice.
Thanks for your time. Please understand that as we bring out these new technologies, we are manufacturing them primarily for our group, our sales group, our dealers, distributors, and you'll have access to some of the latest technology that's out there that we're able to do through the planter box. And we're doing a lot of studies to make sure that it maintains throughout the growing season. So it's been a really nice feature, and I appreciate the support we get from you. And we can answer questions. Your BDMs are good at knowing the material as well. And so if there's anything we can do to help, please let me know.
All right. Thanks to everyone who joined us this morning, and we will see you next week. Take care.
Thanks, everybody. I'll be here after Bob stops the recording if anybody wants to ask any other questions.